Are you familiar with the story of Moneyball? A man uses statistics and logic to win several baseball games. It's my favorite film. The statistical analysis. It's so beautiful.
Hi, welcome to Long Play Video. It's been a manic day in the shop today. Don't know, obviously, maybe the internet's down nearby, or we're suddenly getting a lot of people in. But thankfully, the rush is over, so we can go back to the actual work in the shop, going through my 100 favorite movies. And today we're at number 83, which is Moneyball. Have you? And I believe you've watched this. You believe you've watched this, Kevin. But have you actually watched this?
I have actually watched this. I mean, Kevin, you don't
sure?
forget films. So Brad Pitt's in. You remember those films?
You sure you're not just about to say, is this one where he just gets really young as the time goes on?
I'll tell you what. I'll give you odds, Andy. one to 10. I've seen it. No, I've definitely seen this film. Yeah.
Okay, he's great. Yeah, all the fishing he does in it isn't scripted. Well, I mean, so as we've both seen it, and it's a sports movie, I thought that I would invite our general sports correspondent movie person back, and I've invited Carla back to the shop, and here she is now.
Sorry, just opening the door there.
I mean, we have our own sound effect for that, but actually we may just leave that in because that's brilliant that you're bringing your own sound effect,
and then we'll just use it for all future podcasts as well.
How are you?
It's just squeaky. I noticed. I think you need a bit of oil on the hinges. I'm good. I'm delighted to be back. With my sports punditry skills. I've become obviously so famous for now. Thanks.
It's great to have you back. What movie are you bringing back this time?
I'm bringing back Barbarian, 2022. I don't know if you've seen this. Highly recommend it. Thriller horror film. Was not expecting it. Loved it, but also hated it in equal amount. So I'm returning it, and I won't be taking it out again because I was quite horrified watching it. But
well, we've seen that one.
If you need just like sometimes you're just in the mood for a horror or a thriller, and then this is both, and it's also quite comedic as well. So I would recommend that.
All the genres. Yes. It covers all the bases.
It's romantic. It's musical.
Well, Andy's in. If you've got romance in, he's all over it.
We can forget the romance storyline in any movie. That's fine. So we're here to talk about Moneyball, which I believe that you haven't seen, but because you love sports movies so much now, after we've introduced you to basically the cream of the crop.
Sports films.
It's only going to get worse from Escape to Victory. Yeah.
So, well, I mean, better, right? Because we're going up the list or down the list.
Up the list.
So here's do you know, first of all, before I give you the DVD cover, do you know anything about this film? Have you heard about it? Have you heard of it?
Yes, I've heard of it. I don't have a vague kind of, it's kind of what I also thought Escape to Victory was going to be, like the underdogs. So there's some sort of underdog story. I know it's baseball related, and I know that Brad Pitt is in it. But other than that, I don't really know much about it. I can guess that it's set in America based on those few facts I know about it. But it was always like on my radar, but I never got around to watching it. So now it's a good reason to.
Yeah, no, it's, I mean, basically you know everything about the film, but I'll give you the DVD cover anyway. The DVD as well as the cover. You can have both of them because I'm generous like that. So tell us what you think.
Yeah, well, obviously it's got a lot of Brad Pitt on it. I guess that's the selling point. And then they've strategically placed the baseball where the O in Moneyball should be, so that you get to the point straight away. But what are you really worth is the catchphrase on the front. And I mean, just looking at it, I can't really tell anything about what this is about. In fact, also the placement of Brad Pitt on the front cover makes it look like the movie is called Brad Pitt as well. So he's definitely taking center stage, and I guess everybody else is just his supporting
It looks like
actors.
it looks like he's just the person just sitting down watching Wimbledon. It just looks like he's just about to watch a tennis game and someone's interrupted him.
Yeah, it's like, oh, the
Sorry, what?
strawberries are on their way.
The irony as well, where we can revisit this once you've watched the film, but that scene would never happen, which isn't a spoiler, but you will see in the film.
Yeah, okay.
The scene
Him
from the
sitting
DVD
there.
cover would literally never happen. So
Yeah, okay, interesting.
Ooh,
That's
the
an interesting one.
intrigue.
Yeah.
And then on the back, they've got Brad Pitt in a nice muscle shirt. I feel like it's contractually, it's an obligation for any film that he's in. And then so I see Phillip Seymour Hoffman, Jonah Hill, and is the third guy holding the baseball bat? Is that Chris Pratt?
it is. Good
No
eye.
way! And his name's
Wow.
not even on it.
No, he was nothing. He was
Yeah.
nothing before this.
He's so baby face. Yeah, so that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. So yeah, from the pictures alone, I could just tell that he's the coach, I guess.
Yeah.
He's not
Yeah.
a player, he's a coach.
No,
And then I
He's
don't know,
having a-
Jonah Hill's like his friend.
Yeah.
You can't have
Nice.
a 50-year-old, or I don't know, how old is Brad Pitt when he is there? We just covered
it
one
would have been
unlikely
younger than that.
older baseball player in Brewster's Millions. So we saw that it doesn't stand up.
That's better
This
he's
is-
in the coach role.
Yeah.
This is so funny. Like you said, it's got obviously at the start that you can see it says Brad Pitt, Jonah Hill, Phillip Seymour Hoffman. You've somehow pulled out Chris Pratt, and basically the entire cover. This just looks like a photo shoot for Brad Pitt. Like it's only Brad Pitt on this DVD, and they've even, if you see, they've used the same muscle photo twice.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's like they
there's a
couldn't
whole
get another
movie.
photo. Yeah.
Oh, and Phillip Seymour Hoffman
Yeah.
is a different team? Oh,
Ooh.
rival.
Ooh.
Well, yeah,
Spoilers,
Phillip
who
Seymour
knows?
Hoffman, he's got to be a bad guy, right?
Yeah. This I think this was in his bad guy phase. Yeah. As to
Yeah.
He did it so well.
Yeah, I like.
Okay.
Could you maybe read out the quotes that are on the thing, because I do think the
Yeah.
quotes are particularly strange.
Super smart and rousing. One of the best and most viscerally exciting films of the year by Rolling Stone. And the other one was Entertainment Weekly. Yeah, I don't know. It's
Well, you've also got the best sports movie in a long time, period, as well as
Yeah.
honestly inspirational. I feel like if you're gonna put,
Yeah, that's
if you're gonna
AI.
write the word period, like
Yeah.
it needs to be the best sports movie, period. Not with the caveat of in a
Yeah.
long time. I feel like they're sort of ruining it a bit there.
yeah.
That feels like an AI bot has written that out. You've like quoted it verbatim, and then it's just like written the word period rather than putting a full stop in.
Stop. Please,
Yeah.
please stop.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'm in store for here. It's giving also honestly the shoddy the shoddy design aesthetic of the Moneyball logo is really messing with my mind.
That's right. That's throwing you off. Maybe give us the synopsis
Yeah.
as well.
Yes. So based on a true story, Moneyball is a movie for anybody who has ever dreamed of taking on the system. Brad Pitt stars as Billy Beane, the general manager of the Oakland A's and the guy who assembles the team, who has an epiphany. All of baseball's conventional wisdom is wrong. Forced to reinvent his team on a tight budget, Beane will have to outsmart the richer clubs, the one-time jock teams with Ivy League grad Peter Brand, Jonah Hill, in an unlikely partnership, recruiting bargain players that the scouts call flawed, but all of whom have an ability to get on base, score runs, and win games. It's more than baseball, it's a revolution, one that challenges old school traditions and puts Beane in the crosshairs of those who say he's tearing out the heart and soul of the game.
I mean, that was like, feels like just a description of like, yeah, that's just the film. Like, you don't need to watch it now.
Sounds really
Thanks.
boring, though, doesn't
Bit
it?
long,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
Really matter of fact that having watched the film, I know exactly what the film's about. I'm like, this again just sounds like Brad Pitt. I'm like, did Brad Pitt get the okay on this entire DVD cover?
Yeah, I'm not very.
Like-
It kind of sounds like that was translated from a different language, and that's the
yeah.
American. Yeah.
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah.
I
I mean,
dunno,
Jonah Hill
this
must
was
be
a-
like, what's going on here? This, what's happened here? Yeah, I'm supposed to be integral
Phillip
part
Seymour
of this
Hoffman
film.
doesn't even get mentioned. One of the
No.
greatest actors of our
Yeah.
generation.
Was this
Yeah.
maybe well, if it's on your list, it must be good. But did they
Well,
just
don't-
do this to
Don't
get a
let that
check?
sway you.
I mean, Chicago Tribune gives it 5 stars. So
Yeah, the
That's the-
well known.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
like the least popular. Well, that is like that could literally just be like Jeff on Twitter
Yeah,
gives it
yeah.
5 stars. Like, who cares if Chicago Tribune gave it 5 stars? I don't really understand.
I've just seen the
Hilarious.
bind of the DVD as well, and they've used that same picture a
Oh
third
my
time.
god!
They
Oh
have.
my god!
Wow, maybe that was the only photo he signed off.
know.
Was
Yeah.
was that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
God
that's
almighty.
hilarious.
Yeah,
And then they sort of censored the other one where he's sitting there with a baseball.
And it's the same baseball from the logo, exact
Yeah.
same. I don't know.
and it is
amazing.
all like
sloppy,
it's all
sloppy
green.
DVD cover.
Yeah, it does look like it's just been rushed together, and it's all green. It's making me feel it's more tennis, and I know it's not tennis. I've seen the film.
But it's
I'm like,
probably
why-
the green of
yeah.
money. Yeah,
there you
the
go.
almighty dollar.
We're
There you
playing
are.
chess. She's three-dimensional checkers.
Yeah.
So he's tearing out the heart and soul of the game by giving the underdogs a chance. This is terrible.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we
This is
all know there's a
terrible.
lot of heart and soul in the lovely world of baseball. One of the most exciting sports on the planet.
You have to be a real sports person to be a professional baseball player. We found that out in the last film.
Is
Yeah,
my
yeah.
complete and utter lack of knowledge of the rules of baseball going to hold me back in enjoying this game?
No,
Okay.
no, it won't. In much
Yeah.
the same way as Escape to Victory was not really about football or, in actual fact, Nazis somehow.
No.
Moneyball.
Are the
what it was
Nazis in
about.
this as well?
It's a more generous spine for the DVD, I would say. It's a little less harsh. Yeah, in the same way, you don't really need to know anything about baseball, I would say, for this.
Okay.
Arguably,
You.
this is like the least sports movie going.
How you talking?
You reckon?
There are
I reckon-
there's a lot of baseball movies. You don't. I think you see maybe like two or three actual bits of baseball in this movie. I think no spoilers. But
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
you
not
do
too
disagree?
much. I think they talk about baseball quite a lot. I remember one scene
Yeah.
where they really like the draft piece. Well, they're really going pretty detailed into it.
well,
It feels
they
like
talk a lot because it's an Alan Sorkin movie, so
yeah.
they talk a lot. Well, sometimes I was
Yeah.
walking because
Yeah.
that's his.
is
that's
that
his
is that allowed? Yeah.
Oh yeah, are there going to be some
Hmm.
Sorkinisms that I'll recognize from? Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, you can. I mean, it's early. It's 2011, so it's early Sorkin. But yeah, there's definitely
Yeah.
some of the dialogue pieces. Well, quite a lot of the dialogue pieces. You can kind of see his fingerprints on it.
Style. Okay,
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah, but so yeah, I saw it at the cinema. I went to the cinema. I actually went to the cinema with my wife's best friend, who was over from the US, and he is actually an Oakland A's supporter. So
Oh wow.
Oh, wow.
like yeah, so he kind of knew the story and he knew the kind of the background to it. I feel like
Did you
we,
ask him? Did you ask him if he reads the Chicago Tribune? Is that a big? That's a big publication for the Oakland A fans.
he may have actually written the review. No, yeah, no.
Honestly, inspirational.
Yeah, it's
Period.
just listen to Chicago Tribune. So yeah, so watching it with him was great. But I've watched it like 7 or 8 times at least since then. It is a good movie. There's lots of rewatchable scenes and stuff. And in actual fact, it may have been featured on another podcast that
Ooh.
deals with rewatchable type movies.
Yeah.
It's
What
also
could that
Captain Holtz from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It's his favorite. It's his favorite movie.
Oh wow.
R.I.P.
And obviously, he just passed away, so we pour one out for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was great.
Aw.
And it's about sport and it's about data. So Kevin, surely this is like in your top 20 films of all time, right? Because it's right
and
up
it has
your
Brad,
alley.
and it's got Brad Pitt in. So yeah, obviously, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a good film. I do enjoy this film, but it's baseball's not the most exciting American sport, I would say. And I remember when I first got exposed to baseball when I was at uni, and I used to, because it used to be on super late in the UK, I used to watch it at night to send me to sleep. So that was how useful it was. So yeah, I think you have to be pretty into to baseball to I don't know, to get a high level of enjoyment of baseball films. But yeah, no, I think it's definitely a good film, and obviously got a great cast as well. So
Yeah, I'm curious to see if Brad Pitt does his iconic eating on camera in it. He
It's
does.
true.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
he may be chewing a lot of tobacco as the film goes on. Have you either of you ever been to a baseball game?
I have.
Yes,
There we go.
I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you kind of the general.
I know the atmosphere. I was kind of in the nosebleed seats, so
Did
it was more
anyone
about the hot dogs and all that stuff, you know.
Did someone explain to you a little bit about the rules?
Everybody I was with was as clueless as I was.
Mm.
It was pure novelty.
The first baseball game I went to, they explained this other game that basically you put $1 in a cup and you pass the cup around every time that someone gets out. And if someone scores a run, then you win what's in the cup. And I was like, so you've invented a game to make the other game that you've paid to come to see more interesting.
Yeah.
That's that's a bit of a funny, dynamic.
Yeah, I know there's like the innings. I know that.
Okay, look at you,
Yeah.
you're a pro.
And I
All
think
over it.
it's an
Well,
endless
sports correspondent.
Yeah. So with my technical analysis here, the innings. No, but isn't it true? Like it could just go on and on and on. There's no like set time like other sports, right?
Yeah, we have to get 3 people out to like end an innings.
Oh.
Yeah.
There's not
And then
like,
it can keep going though, right? Yeah, because if you're drawing at the end of the, is it the 9th innings? I think Carla's right? It goes into the 10th. You can't have a draw.
well, yeah, but you also I think you have to get people out.
Yeah.
So,
But I think what Carla's saying is you can keep having more innings forever, right?
yeah, and an innings
if-
could last 10 minutes or it could
Yeah.
last an hour.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Technically.
What a joyous sport for everyone. We should make a film about it and then get the Chicago Tribune all over it.
They're big fans of baseball.
Correction on my last
Yeah.
review. This
This
is the best sports
yeah.
movie in a long time.
I mean,
Period.
you can basically have that just no matter what, right? And you could do that every year. You could have that same quote because it's just the best sports movie in a long time.
I'm going to bring this out for the next sports movie we review. I've actually got a personal review, and this is it. So I've only ever seen one baseball game, and I was in Seattle, and I went to watch this Seattle team play, and obviously, you know, as a person who's come from the UK to the US, you want to see some, you know, a big American sport, a bit of action. You know, baseball's not necessarily the best sport of choice for a huge amount of action. But turned out it was, I don't even know what they called it. It was like a no-hitter or something. It was this really, really rare game where not only did no one hit the ball because the pitcher was so good, no one even got onto first base.
Wow.
And so, yeah, so I came back to the office the next day and I was chatting to this guy who he missed out and he was like, oh, I'm absolutely gutted. That's like the chance of seeing that is like 0. And I was like, yeah, it felt really exciting for someone that's never watched a baseball game before.
Ticket was wasted on you.
So you've seen one baseball game, but how many baseball movies have you seen?
Does The Sandlot count?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Look at that. Field of Dreams.
Haven't seen it.
League of Their Own. You've never
No.
seen A League of Their Own.
Is that the one with Gina Davis and Madonna?
Yeah. And
No, I've only seen a clip.
What's
What's wrong with me? Maybe I'm
Tom.
avoiding them.
Tom Hanks. Oh,
yeah, Mr. Baseball.
You're making them up now. That's not a real film.
That was on, yeah. No, that was
Major
on.
League?
Yeah, Major League. Bull Durham, where Kevin Costner kind of got his break. I actually only watched Bull Durham last year and it's rubbish. But
yeah.
that's strange. Field of Dreams, I would have thought.
Yeah, I
a
think
classic.
maybe no, it's just before my time a little bit, maybe.
Yeah.
Not that I'm
Also,
that young or anything.
Yeah, all right. Thanks. Thanks for that.
yeah. It is also a film about baseball, which is possibly one of the most
Yeah,
boring
true.
sports. You're like, let's pick a sport that's not interested, and then let's make a film about it.
Before you were so interested in sports films, by becoming a sports correspondent on a podcast for a shop.
Before I'd made it my career.
Yeah, I'm glad we got you to sign that contract. So you now have to watch all of these films. It's too late. Yeah. So Andy, then come on. Then why is it on your list then?
I think it's a really good film. I think it's really entertaining. It's great dialogue all the way through. I wouldn't even. It's questionable whether it's a sports movie. In my opinion, it's a character drama of like someone who's just tried everything, and so is just trying to try something different because he's basically tried everything and it's not worked. I think the interplay between him and Jonah Hill is all right. I actually think the interplay between him and Phillip Seymour Hoffman is better because Phillip Seymour Hoffman again just has this ability to walk into films, be like probably a character that they didn't spend any time writing, and yet just absolutely dominates every scene he's in just by how he is. He doesn't even get any good lines or anything, but he is just, he's just awesome in it. I think it's, I think there's lots of funny moments. As far as sort of knowing baseball is concerned, you have to know that someone's trying to hit the ball and to score runs. I don't think you need anything more. They go into the statistical analysis of it, which is almost like just to kind of, go through it, just to kind of see a little bit more, almost a bit like the sort of the bits in The Big Short, where they sort of try and explain what actually happened. So they go through it. And the thing, it's I would say it's a shade long. But apart from that, when you watch it, if it's on, I will sit down and watch it. I think it's really enjoyable. I watched it. I think even last year. It's good. It's entertaining. I would say like Brad Pitt, I think is one of the most watchable actors going. I think every time that he's in a movie, I think you can watch it because I think he's just ridiculously charismatic and photogenic, and he kind of. He brings it all together. I'd say like this is an interesting part of his career as well, because he's in, I don't know, like the 4th or 5th or 6th like time that he's actually had back-to-back movies that are really good, because this is kind of just after Benjamin Button, Inglourious Bastards, Tree of Life, which is awful, but then kind of Moneyball. And again, it's not like Moneyball is a massive movie, right? It's pretty cheap. So they do it on 50 million from a budget point of view, and it doubles its money. So I think it's
I'd love that in the stats.
Yeah, exactly. Look at that. It more than doubles its money. It's like 1.03. No, I don't know.
You knew that.
What breaks down?
So
going to numbers.
I think it's really enjoyable. I think you don't have to be a baseball fan to really love it. I think if you're a baseball fan that then gets that much into the numbers, I'm not sure that I want to watch this movie with you. It's more like it's more about the character and how he kind of interplays with everyone else amongst the team as well. He says some great scenes when he's talking to like the other teammates and kind of all of their reaction. And Chris Pratt is like a comic interlude, but it's very early in his career, so he's not kind of anyone at the time. So
he looks like he's like 19 there or something. No,
he looks super young.
I
think looking forward to watching it, Carla.
Yeah, I think it might be one of the best sports movies in a long time, period. And essentially, honestly, inspirational. So I'm excited.
I'll tell you what, when you just slide it in like that, it just sounds so much more natural, doesn't it? I'm like, wow, that does seem like a good quote.
No, honestly, it's been on my radar. I wanted to see it. So like, I'm happy I'm getting to see it. But the back, if I didn't know anything about it and just read the back, I'd be like, but I know it's going to be good. Brad Pitt
Yeah.
hasn't really put a foot wrong since this either, right? He's just had a successful film after
Yeah.
another.
He's
Yeah,
done
but it's the
pretty
thing
well, hasn't
because he's not trying to sort of do be the big kind of Hollywood
Yeah.
star almost because he's kind of beyond that. But if you
Yeah.
look at the films that he does, actually, there's not too like I think comparing him to Tom Cruise is really interesting because I think they're cut from the same cloth in some ways, but they just do really, really different films. Like Tom
Yeah.
Cruise is all about sort of he's front and center and it's like his film and that's kind of it. I think Brad Pitt does, I mean, despite what the DVD cover shows, but Brad Pitt like just does more interesting films, I think, just kind of generally. And you look at, you know, the sort of he's done Babylon, Bullet Train, Lost City, which he's in quite quickly, and then Ad Astra and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like literally none of those films Tom Cruise would be in because of the type of film that they are. So
it's interesting, isn't it? Because I feel like you saying that it feels like I think like in his early stage of his career, Tom Cruise would have done something like that. I could think about like say The Color of Money, which may or may not be on the list. Get ready, sports correspondent. And that's more similar to this sort of film. I feel like you're right. They're almost, the trajectories of almost completely the inverse. Like Brad Pitt just got to the very top and then just thought, I don't know, now maybe he's thinking, I'm just going to do what I want. And he is a more, I don't know, more sort of relaxed actor, right? He's not like intense. Whereas I don't know, I feel like Tom Cruise was getting to the peak and then, I don't know, we discussed this, didn't we, with Night and Day. I don't know if he just sort of lost it a little bit and then sort of forces his way back up with the Mission Impossible stuff now. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe they just got to different stages.
Could be Scientology, to be honest.
It could be. Yeah.
Different motivations.
So hold on a minute. We're saying that if Brad Pitt went to Scientology, we could see him running in all of our films. Well, let's make this happen.
They
Get this sorted straight away.
But even like at the beginning of Brad Pitt's career, like he made more interesting choices, I think. Like kind of Thelma and Louise obviously is the one where he breaks on. But then things like A River Runs Through It in California, Legends of the Fall, like you know, again, he's trying to be like 7 and 12 Monkeys. You know, it's kind of just very much not like
what was the one in
he's
Tibet?
The star. Seven years in Tibet.
Oh yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, that
Did you say that already?
How long was he in Tibet? No.
Did he go
I thought it was a
Tibet
year. I've only seen the short film.
Sandwiched in between all of those, he's in a film with Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Do you know which one?
Interview with the Vampire.
Interview with the Vampire. Yeah.
I think he's a bit more like I almost like equate him and Christian Bale a bit more.
Interesting.
Yeah, different style of actor. I think you're right. Yeah,
but like they kind of do, although he hasn't really done many sort of comedic performances, so
he doesn't do the
forget that.
But he doesn't do like the pretty boy stuff, and that's the thing. Like Brad Pitt has also, I mean, mainly with the Ocean's films, but he's done films where he's just like on set to look good, and that's kind of it. So it's really interesting because then like he doesn't need to take a lot of the chances that he takes, but I think he does like the script and he does like to be pushed a little bit and stuff, which I think is why I would take his career over Tom Cruise's. Is that controversial?
Yeah. No,
I agree.
So I
think
that's the thing as well.
If it had to be your career for you.
I mean, I know which one I resemble more.
I don't think I'd enjoy the kind of unhinged mania that's involved in Tom Cruise and his career, jumping out of planes and stuff.
Yeah. And that's, I think, Brad Pitt, like, for me, I think is pretty much the actor of my generation because he starts in like the mid 90s and then goes all the way through. Wow. So I don't think
this
there's
has
anyone...
turned into an Andy Brad Pitt Appreciation Society. I didn't realise you had such a crush on him. Should we leave?
It's the DVD.
We'll give you the DVD. We'll go into the other room, and we'll just leave you with the DVD.
It's those 3 pictures that are the exact same. I've hypnotized them.
Yeah, wow.
When
Is he
strikes
looking
that
straight at
pose.
you, Andy? Yeah.
And he joined
Strangely,
the
he's not.
fan
He's
club.
always looking. He's always looking.
He's looking
strangely to
away.
the side, which is just weird. Maybe he's worried about the baseball coming to him, but yeah. So that's our
wow.
little Brad Pitt appreciation part. I think we got
Slash yours.
slash mine. We got into it night and day about Tom Cruise, so I thought we should. And Limitless, we got into it with Bradley Cooper. So I think Brad deserves his.
Oh
time.
yeah. I think he's done some great, and even like the Ocean's films, obviously there's so many big stars in that, and he just lets it run, lets it play, right? He doesn't go, oh no, I have to be the biggest star. And I think that's one of the great things that, you know, in that film, not to keep doing reviewing 2 movies in one pod, but you know, George Clooney and Brad Pitt, it feels like neither of them really are bothered about owning the film, and then that means it just plays off so much better because they're both just having a laugh at each other, and it just makes it such a much better film.
A genuine duo, kind of, rather than it is very good dynamic.
Yeah.
And it feels like they're just both trying to make each other laugh rather than be, oh no, I'm the best top bit in here.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I mean, again, I think I did the same with the Skater Victory, just built it up really, really, really well and made it seem like an impossible level. But let's throw it in. And if your one word reaction after we've watched it is rousing or super smart, then
period.
You owe us all an ice cream, I think. So we'll put it in and see what you think.
Loved it.
Oh, nice.
Who knew sports movies could be this good?
I actually, I genuinely loved it. I will say it was an upgrade from Escape to Victory.
I mean, by about 4 or 5 places. So.
No, I thought the whole. Okay, it's nice that it's a true story. So, I love films where at the end they give the update as well, you know, what actually happened after the film. But I thought the whole pace of it was really good. There was a lot more baseball in it than you made out, though, Andy. And so the one thing I wished is that I knew that I understood the rules a bit more, because when they were talking about things like bunting,
don't bunt,
don't bunt, and all of these things, and walking, and I know what walking is.
You probably don't, because walking is where, if there's 3 foul balls, you get to go to first base with
second if you're already in first, or
exactly.
I mean, not to pull you up straight away, Andy, but it's 4 foul balls. But let's still worry about the details.
Well, you see, you
two have been bookworming about baseball.
This could be one of your 100 favorite movies, and you don't even know the rules of baseball. So
no, but great recommendation. I loved that. It was very good.
What were the bits especially that kind of were pulled out? What were your favorite bits?
Oh, Brad Pitt, obviously, right?
Well, yeah, he was great in it. I loved those boardroom scenes with the old scouts, and then where they have Jonah Hill's character Paul, I think. Paul.
Yeah.
And where Brad's just pointing to him, and he has to give his insights, and they're all like, "Who is this kid?" You know. So I thought just the dynamic between them was really good. And then obviously you're really rooting for Chris Pratt's character. So those are some highlights for me.
Nice.
Yeah, that was such a good, that scene is amazing when they're in the boardroom. I was like, can we bring that back? Is that something we can do again? You just point at people and they just answer for it immediately.
I think the bit even before where he's like, wow, 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 wow. I'm definitely going to start doing that in meetings if people were saying the same thing over and over again.
Disrespect.
It's such a power play.
Yeah. It was, there was the right amount of humor to it. Oh, Phillip Seymour Hoffman's character, he really got under my skin.
He does it so well, though, doesn't he?
I was just like
Yeah.
seething with anger every time he'd come on. I'd be like, oh, what's he gonna do now? What's he gonna push back on? You know?
No,
It's funny because I forgot about how many layers there are in American sports. Because there's like the manager, there's like the owner, and then there's like the general manager as well, or like the coach and the general manager. And you're like, what? Why are there so many people involved? What do we? It feels like there's one extra layer of management that we don't need. But it's just always the case.
Back to the old scouts as well. There was like 10 of them in the room.
Yeah.
Are they all on the payroll? And like,
Yeah.
what are they getting?
I don't think massive amounts, but yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's,
I love
But
that
we,
game.
but we have established you don't know anything about baseball, so
I do not know the P&L of a baseball scouting team. It has to be said. What I love most about that, the whole line about, he has an ugly girlfriend.
Yeah, his
He's
girlfriend
lacking
is a 6
confidence.
at best.
Yeah, so he's lacking in confidence. I think that's a really great line for like showing how old and sort of out of touch they are. And I think that it does it so effectively.
Yeah. The old
Yeah,
guard
it's
and the new
crazy.
guard.
Yeah.
And I also thought there was one scene I really liked where I've forgotten all the players' names, but the older player who's in the batting cage and he's like,
JD,
and he tells him to, you know, mentor the younger guys, and then straight away he's in the little rec room talking to Chris Pratt's character, like, what's your biggest fear, man? And he's like, no, genuinely, ball going in my direction. It was kind of sad.
It's like, good luck with that.
Yeah. No, there was
It
great
was good,
little
wasn't it?
nuggets. Yeah.
Yeah,
And the pace is really good, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sort of a longer movie. Kev, you liked it on the rewatch?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, I did. It felt a little bit long for me. I think, as Carlos sort of alluded to, that baseball scene goes on probably a little bit too long for me when they're about to hit 20 unbeaten games. But yeah, the rest of it was great. Yeah, you know, as I remembered it, which was not necessarily the same for Escape to Victory. So,
You didn't actually watch The Color of Money and think it was Moneyball.
I was just sitting there.
When's Madonna coming in?
Yeah.
I did count the amount of times that Brad Pitt is caught eating on this, and that is just an astonishing amount. I did
too. How many did you count?
I got 7, but
Me
I don't know. I
too.
think I'm like,
Bingo.
Food
I'm
nerds.
like, he must have it in his contract where he just says, oh yeah, and I also want unlimited food, and so he eats continuously even when they're filming, because like, why else would you just eat that much amount of food while you're supposed to be acting? It's just madness.
Either that or he's like, you know what, you never see people eat in movies, so I'm just gonna eat in movies. You're like, yeah, but Brad, that doesn't make it more realistic. If just one person is eating, that doesn't actually bring more realism. And he's like, no, it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
And he eats the Twinkie he just
oh
shoves
my
it
god,
into
that
his face.
yeah. And then or maybe he's just like trying to toy with the editors. He's like, well, I've got to do that scene again. Remember how many bits of popcorn I had? You know, how did that go down?
I don't think Brad is eating a lot of Twinkies. It has to be said.
No.
I'm not sure generally if he's downing Twinkies like that. I'm not sure
His
he'd be.
metabolism would be amazing otherwise. Was he at one stage? Was he eating popcorn out of a coffee filter?
Yeah.
It was a coffee filter.
And then that's the one where he just like spits it all on the floor to answer the phone. He's just like,
actually, that scene was great where he's doing like going back and forth between all the other. Yeah, that was a really good scene. So I was like, wow, this is so. I don't know. They're so transferable. All the people. It's just like.
Yeah. It's a bit crazy, isn't it? Yeah.
And I think Jonah Hill as well. I think he does really well. He just looks so out of place for most of the film. Like he looks genuinely scared when Brad's looking for him at the start. You can tell that he's a bit like, oh, is this guy looking for me?
In his cubicle, like.
Yeah, exactly. Like when he throws the baseball at him at the end, and it's like, think fast, and he just throws baseball, and he's just like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then I love the bit where he's like, I asked you to do 3 player profiles. How many did you do? He says 48. He said, no, 51. I don't know
Yeah.
what I lied about that, because obviously doing 48 is just good. Doing 51 would be crazy. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
so
that's mad,
passionate
isn't
about
it?
it.
yeah,
He was really good. I think, and that's, well, I think you were saying that you might have had someone different playing the Brad Pitt role, right? You were saying, Andy, but I think realistically, these two work really well off each other. I think if you had
Yeah.
someone different, I don't know if it'll work quite as well.
yeah, no, yeah, exactly. Even like at the very end when he's like, it's a metaphor, and he's like, I know it's a metaphor. You're a good
got
egg. It's
I
How good
know,
is
I
that, though?
love that. You're
Yeah.
a good egg. It's very nice.
So I do think,
Do you think
the two of them, playing off each other, as you say, Kev. I think that's sort of because that's the major dynamic, I think, in the film. So it sort of lives or dies on that.
Yeah, I did wonder about. I'd be interested to see what you guys thought about the story with the daughter. They kind of sort of shoehorn it in throughout the film, just so that at the end, when he makes his decision, you're like, oh, he's made it because he wants to stay with his family. But I don't know. It just felt a bit. It didn't feel that connected. I didn't, and it's quite a long film. They probably could have had some longer scenes, I thought, maybe with him and his daughter. I don't know what you guys thought.
Yeah, I agree. I was surprised that like having Robin Wright as his ex-wife. She's such a big actress, to have one on-screen scene was kind of crazy for me. But yeah, I think it was nice because it took you for a moment out of he's just business. So I think it was important to have that. But yeah, it was interesting that there was so few scenes of that. But I feel like a lot got cut as well, because I also watched some of the extra scenes, and it seems like that the whole film was probably a nightmare to edit, to keep it as short as it was.
Yeah. Well, I think it is I noticed it a lot more, sort of being almost a lot more jarring. It's so funny when I'm watching these films like critically for this. It is sort of funny, the things that you kind of pick up that you didn't kind of pick up first. I think what they're trying to do though is that they're trying to kind of say it is about statistics, but like the people are still people, and they're not trying to like reduce it to just the numbers. Like you still have the people, because actually it's all about the data and the statistics. And then it's actually at Chris Pratt's house for the first time. Obviously he's depressed because he's been cut, and then you sort of see him with his family sort of being so happy that he's got a job again, and then it goes straight to Brad Pitt's ex-wife when he's picking up his daughter. So I think it's almost like that's the start of like, but these are people, like they do have other things, because it kind of goes from then Brad Pitt and his daughter, which I would say, like when she's playing the song in the guitar shop, Brad Pitt absolutely nails that look of like, how are you the same thing that was a baby that I was looking after, and now you're playing this song? And then it kind of goes into the him talking to Jonah Hill about firing people and stuff like that. So I think that they're trying to kind of balance, like not just saying, well, it's just statistics and the people don't matter and it's just all sort of the computers. I think they're trying to kind of weave in, but they are still people. They do still have like a life outside of baseball, and I think it's a bit heavy-handed, but I think also it's kind of it they use it to like ratchet up the pressure. Then when he's maybe going to get sacked, and his daughter's worried about it because she's like, but then that would mean that you would have to move, and it's a tough life. Like if you're suddenly traded, the other side of the country. If you've not got a family that will actually sort of up sticks with you and go, then it must be.
It did make you think about that, like the way they're all just, okay, you're moving to this city now, you've been transferred or traded, like the irregularity of their lives associated with this game must be insane. Yeah. And it's still like that today though, right? Just
Oh, yeah. And then even like, with football over here. Yeah, but obviously the UK is not as big.
They'll be closer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but the thing is, that also made me laugh with Jonah Hill when he's doing the mock firing, and he's like, "Well, I've just put my kids in school," and he's like, "Well, don't take them out mid-year."
What are you doing? That was very sweet.
Yeah, so I think that's sort of trying to bring the personal life into it as well.
Yeah.
rather than
What
it
about
just
you
being
then,
the
Andy?
statistics.
What was your anything that you particularly liked this
Yeah.
time on the rewatch?
I did. Yeah, I thought the 20th game is really well done. Actually, I think it builds the tension really well.
tense.
Like it
Yeah.
sort of you kind of know that there's probably going to be a good resolution to it. But also, I think sort of the Brad coming back and then leaving again.
Yeah.
And they, and I think the way that they've sort of put the commentary over the top of it, maybe we'll have some in the best quotes. But I think that sort of, that's really good. I think Phillip Seymour Hoffman as well is almost like I think he's necessary because he's like, I think he's really good in it.
You have to have a foil, don't you?
Yeah.
I was so sure when I was looking at the cover, I was so sure he was going to be like on the opposing team. So for me, or one of the opposing teams. So for me, it was like, oh, it's inside. The turmoil is inside the team. I wasn't expecting it, but it was actually very good. Their dynamic was very tense, I found.
I swear, like for the first 2 or 3 scenes that he's in, he's literally doing nothing. He's just like, buy the like photocopier or buy the coffee machine. He's just like, I think we need to talk. He's like, yeah, we do. And he's just like not doing anything. He's just walking around the building. Just like, you're like, aren't you supposed to be like doing some work?
That's why he won't give him a longer contract.
Yeah.
We got to get into baseball. I think this is seems like an easy ride.
Yeah, it could be. There might be a few issues, but I think if we can do it, well, let's make it happen. And was his name actually Billy Bean then?
Yeah.
That is mad. What a name! That is just crazy.
He had it all. He had it all as a kid. He's got all of the baseball skills, and he's got a name like Billy Bean.
Yeah. And then Bean, like Bean Counter. I was like, this all works in perfectly.
Oh, nice. What did you think of the younger actor they cast to play young Billy Bean?
He looks remarkably like a young Brad Pitt. I looked him up.
In the eyes, very much so.
Yeah, Reed Thompson. No, you play a young Brad Pitt, and he's only been in 3 other movies. Just hasn't happened to him.
I don't think he got to speak in the film, though, did he? So maybe he's not a great actor in any other way other than looking like Brad Pitt.
Yeah, well, it goes to show that you can look like Brad Pitt, and that you wouldn't have the same career. So
I mean, what are the chances of that happening?
I thought it was very, it was really sad. I just to see like how his career could have gone at a young age and all the hopes and aspirations, and then you're like, oh, he should have gone to university. But then I suppose he wouldn't have been where he was with the Oakland A's. So
that's mad at the end. I mean, what would you guys have done? That's crazy.
With an offer that big.
Yeah. I mean, 12.5 million in those days, man, that's a lot of money.
I suppose it would have been different if he was still together with his ex-wife and the daughter and they could all move together. Like maybe that was a real pull. But I do really, I thought it was really nice that for him it was more about the game and what it stands for rather than, you know, like you could tell he was going to go back. I was surprised when I thought, oh, he's actually gone to the Red Sox. I was like, oh, that wasn't the end I was expecting. And then you're like, oh, he actually didn't.
He didn't,
and obviously that's the true story. So it's not even like the Hollywood ending. So
and then when you see that the Red Sox 2 years later using the same logic one, you're like, oh,
I would have probably gone. It has to be said. I would have gone for a year or 2. Yeah. Like that amount of money, you could get like private jets for your daughter to come visit.
True.
And like, you'd want to sort of see that it works and that you actually win it. I mean, the A's haven't won anything. And as he says,
for all my lack of sporting knowledge, I was actually in Fenway Park in August last year. And, he's like, wow, and I sat where they sat in the press box. And there's something about that stadium, like even though it was deadly quiet when I was there was no game on. you're like, wow, this is a cool sport.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's something about those. That's what I was thinking from the very beginning. There is a magic to it all, the whole atmosphere and the silence and then the
Yeah.
uproar and everything. It's very cool.
You cannot
Yeah.
get
I think that-
romantic about baseball.
Yeah, exactly. Good line. Good line.
It's American sports, isn't it? They do sported so well. They know how to make it a completely, spectacle, a great entertainment. I think
Tribal.
they do such a good job with that. Yeah, it can be a bit. It's not the same as I say. The UK is not the worst for tribalness, but definitely the Premier League is definitely very tribal, as we've discussed in previous other terrible sports films. Yeah, I can't wait. It's good that we're slowly getting to the good ones now. You missed an absolute beauty, Carl, honestly. You're glad you didn't see that one.
Well, now I'm like, maybe I was too optimistic with my review of Escape to Victory, having seen Moneyball now. I was like, in terms of sporting films, no, it still had Sly Stallone. That was still
I mean,
Yeah, we found out that he could act. There was a time when Stallone used to be able to act.
Don't
Who
forget
knew?
that French accent.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Anyway,
The
wrong
skills he
film,
had.
wrong film.
Yeah. Anything you
Yeah.
didn't like so much in this one?
Well, I mean, I still liked it, but I didn't like Phillip Seymour Hoffman's character art. He just, but I suppose that was the whole purpose of having such a good actor play him as well, really get under your skin. As you said, in so
Yeah.
few scenes,
Yeah.
he made such an impact. I'd say that was the only lingering thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Andy?
I mean, yeah, I counted, but I counted female roles. There's like 9 of them in the entire film.
Really?
2 secretaries, 3 mothers, 2 reporters, 1 daughter, 1 air stewardess. You're like, yeah, I feel like that you could have had a bit more. You could have had a bit more interaction, especially with the family bits. I mean, I think the daughter interaction is really good. I do think that the new husband is just so funny.
And is that
Yeah.
Spike Jones?
He was
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
I thought that scene was so good. It was so
so
well
funny.
acted.
Yeah.
Because it was so tense about he was
Karen,
so hippy-dippy.
What's going on? Oh, it's
Yeah.
very peaceful around here. You're just like, I'll wait outside.
And getting like the players' names wrong and stuff
Yeah,
was just
exactly,
such a key indicator of how little he knew and cared about the sport, actually, but he was just trying to be polite.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's really funny. I think that they maybe go a little bit heavy on it won't work. This won't work. This is just a travesty. Like at the same time, like, so it's the Oakland A's. It's not like the Red Sox trying something and it being like, oh, this is a disaster. Like the A's are not like the best team. They're not the top team. So actually, would anyone really care if they like bombed out for a season? Maybe.
But
I mean, local radios maybe, but.
That's what I was wondering though. Do you think much of the radio voiceovers were actually real recordings from the time?
Possibly some of them. I mean, some of the baseball footage, like intermixed, I think is real from the
real
time.
people, yeah.
But like, maybe they just go a touch heavy. I know that they're trying to sort of have that like C's mentality, which does come out. I mean, I do think it's funny when Brad Pitt's like, it's just you and me, Pete. We're going all in. And again, Jonah Hill just looks really, really scared. And then the next time he walks over to him and he's like, this better work. And you just see him like, what? And he's like, no, just kidding.
Like, what?
Yeah, that was great. The fear in his eyes.
Yeah. So I think, that's a bit like, and I mean, in the graphic at the very start, it just is silly, isn't it? Where they're like, oh, they only spent 39 million on the team and the Yankees spent 100. You're like, yeah, but 39 million is quite a lot for what it is. Like, and I know it's not a lot for baseball, but like, you're still
they're not that much of the underdogs. Like,
you're still hitting the ball around the field, and yet you're spending 39 million in a year on it. Like,
one thing I didn't like thinking about it is those scenes where he's in the car doing the donuts in that huge open lot. I get it was like to show this is him releasing his stress, but it felt kind of redundant.
Yeah.
I don't think it added like, oh, this is really speaking to his character. That's the only thing that I was like, What
Yeah,
about you, Kev? What didn't you like?
I think it's for me like the last 30 minutes drags a bit. I think the last bit just sort of they're just sort of eking out, like you know what sort of happened, you kind of know where it's going, and I felt like they just sort of dragged it a little bit on the rewatch. But I mean, other than that, I mean, I think that was about it really. That was really me sort of stretching to find something that I didn't really like.
it should have finished on the crowd. On the 20th game, the crowd should have stormed the field, maybe
and then
taken
they
off
could
the
have done
shirts
it all
and put blankets on top. Basically, Escape to Victory, the ending is the perfect ending, is what you're saying.
And then sprinkle on a bit of Bruce's Millions, just put up some quotes at the end to tell you what happened to everyone, and then you're done. Go home. Everyone's enjoyed it. No, I thought it was good. It was really good. The acting it just shows you when you see good acting how different that makes it to a film. Like sometimes you kind of think, how difficult is acting really? Do these people really have to learn and do much? But when you actually watch a really good film and really good actors, you realise the difference versus
Absolutely.
So like maybe footballers trying to be actors, as we saw in Escape to Victory.
It's the subtlety of the facial expressions that Brad Pitt does, just like say so much, and he's so good for that. Whereas I think Jonah Hill's face was mostly just, in a look of shock or observation. But Brad Pitt,
he was
with the chewing tobacco. Oh, I hated all the spitting into the cups.
So weird, isn't it?
That is a weird one. I wonder if he just added that in. Like he was just like this needs to be part of the character, or whether
that and
he actually used to do that. He's like, I've got to do something to stop myself just constantly eating. Someone start chewing tobacco. It's the only thing I can think of. Was there anything that you guys thought that actually dated the film like in a good way or a bad way? Anything you thought of, Carla?
Not particularly. I mean, what Andy said about the he has an ugly girlfriend thing, but that was deliberate to show this sort of old and new kind of mentality. But no, I actually felt it was like quite of the times now, but it's surprising when it was said. It was actually quite a while ago. So no, I personally didn't, but also maybe the game of baseball is a bit more modern now. Who knows? Well, maybe no,
I mean, I presume not a lot has actually changed in baseball because it seems quite traditional. The Scouts do say that we've been doing this for 150 years, and I was like, has baseball been around for 150 years? Like that seems a very long time, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But I had the CD player in the car at the end was
true.
Was a nice touch. But I think it still stands up. I think you can. I mean, the computers were all a bit big. But besides that, I think there wasn't that much.
I guess it's because it's set in a specific time period, isn't it? Because obviously it's like based on a true story. And so consequently, it's always going to be set in that time period. So anything relative to that is obviously going to be, relative to that time period. So I didn't really think anything had dated really. I thought it was all reasonably good. How about describing it to the aliens then? You have anything good on this, Andy?
I mean, so I went with balls are the most significant artifact in human existence. Someone hitting a small one is really important, and you can help them do it better using mathematics.
That's nice. That just rolls off the tongue. That one.
That's basically the plot of the film.
That's pretty good. Yeah, wow. I like that. That should actually go on the DVD cover.
I mean, you can take one of the photos of Brad off that they've used.
What about you, Carla?
Tall man and smaller man change face of popular game with maths. So
nice.
Very nice.
Snappier. Better copy. What did you go for, Kev?
I had a couple. My first one was more focused around Brad Pitt, and it was the day in the life of a compulsive eater. Just like those things, honestly, crazy. But no, I was like, numbers rule the world, kind of. That was my.
Wow. I love it. Sounds like an epic.
It is, because it's quite funny because it's obviously a sport in, it's revolving around sport, it's revolving around baseball. But really, there's a lot more different dynamics to it. Because obviously, it's a fundamental change to the game that no one believes will work. You're bringing in statistics and maths, and obviously on the computers they were using them that didn't have AI or anything like this. That as you see, like Jonah Hill's character is actually plotting where the balls were actually pitched, and so it's actually like there's a lot to the film, I think, and I think that's that's a credit to it really. And obviously, as we said, the acting really helps out, but it's not. They do cover off a lot of stuff in this sort of true story that isn't just revolved around baseball, which is probably good for all of us, considering it doesn't sound like many of us really know the rules. So,
and yet none of us used rousing in our description. So
no,
I feel like we've missed the trick
that's
there.
true. Well, it'd already been taken, right? There's only one person that could really use that.
But it was good, period.
It was one of the best recently, kind of. Period. What was the overarching question that you thought you got from the film?
Well, and it was the same thing I had for Escape to Victory. It's the underdog story. So I think for me, it was just like not giving up on the people. I mean, maybe this is a little too much of a question of humanity, but all the players that they bought were these people that everybody had forgotten about and said didn't have a chance. And it's like going back to what you're saying, Andy, that everybody, has a life story and they're all human. So I think it was like bringing the humanity back into the game and sports. They're not just tradable people. So
nice. Yeah. Which because it is a film about the statistics and the numbers, like that is the balance that they get really well and actually make it more human than actually like the scouts in some ways.
Yeah, so true.
Yeah, which is funny.
He must be so frustrated as well. Like when he got to this, because obviously the film starts and he gets to the finals, and then they go, right, we're going to change the system completely. Doesn't work at the beginning. Then everyone, the Phillip Seymour Hoffman has to put it in place correctly. And then it's really working. And obviously they get this 20-game running streak. He must be thinking, I mean, there's no chance it could be the same as last season. It'd be impossible. We've revolutionized the game.
Yeah.
And then for the same thing to happen, he must have just been like, are you actually kidding me? How is that even possible?
Yeah.
And he was so right
fundamentally changed it.
That they'll write them off straight after as well. He was so right about that, and the way they cut straight to the commentary of like, well, they never. It was impossible. They could have changed the game.
Even though they got a 20-game unbeaten streak.
If you don't win the last game, it just doesn't matter. Yeah,
it's all about that, isn't it?
I had it's just crazy when someone believes in you more than you do, because I think that's like is kind of the dynamic. It's just like Jonah Hill is pretty sure, but Brad Pitt's like all in, and Jonah Hill's like, but you don't want to make this trade, and he's like, yeah, do you believe in this or not? And he's just like, kind of, I guess.
Head's about to pop off.
Yeah, well, it's his first job, isn't it? I think that's what he says, his first role. And so, like, I mean, I think I remember my first job when I was at uni was Sainsbury's. I was like, that's not quite the same as
equal amount of pressure, I'd say.
Yeah.
I mean, people came up and asked me a lot of questions about the prices. So
and you had that system about how many trolleys you could push based on the mathematics of the wheels.
Made a computer with all this.
Oh dear, but it would be crazy, wouldn't it? If that was your first job, you're like in the limelight straight away. So it would be a bit. And I think Jonah Hill really gets that in his character. He really brings that across. That the fact that he understands the system. He thinks, I believe in the system, but he's like, but you're trying to do it as a reality. I just know it as a theory, whereas you're now saying, let's actually do this. And so, I thought he was really good in that way.
I think you maybe could have had a scene about the fact that he had to move from, I think, was it Cleveland that he came in from? I'd like to see him like opening a rubbish apartment with a pot plant and a rolly bag. I think that would have told us it. I think maybe because he was almost the least human of all of the characters. You never saw anything outside of him just sort of sitting in front of his computer. So maybe that was on the cutting room floor as well.
And then towards the end, when he's watching the game from the sidelines, he's wearing more casual clothes, and you're like, oh, he's not always in a blazer. He's loosening up. He's getting into the role.
Yeah.
Starts wearing the shirts and stuff. Did you have a genre or something that you would swap out from today?
Oh, yeah. This one was a bit difficult. I went for horror, and then the theme was their limbs are replaced by robotics, and they are taken over by AI, and they start killing people at night. That was my that was my new film. So, yeah.
Along with the baseball.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess it starts off as a baseball game, and then slowly they just turn on the crowd and start killing everyone. Everyone's trying to get out. Yeah, I don't know. What about you, Carla?
I think it could have gone more of the psychological thriller kind of direction. And they could have done more between Art and Billy B. This sort of like, because it was very tense at times, but then they'd always come in with a little comedic bit to loosen it up again. So if you ripped all of that out, it would just be very, very tense.
Phone
like
call
that
in the
scene
middle.
on the 20th win. That was a very tense scene. So just that the whole way through.
Yeah, phone call in the middle of the night. Play Giambi.
Yeah.
Who is this? Just play him.
Yeah.
What about you, Andy?
I had it's Billy versus Fletcher from Whiplash, and it's like two teams, and who's the better motivator? Because obviously the first half of the film, Brad is he's a bit over the top on there when he wrecks the music, and he's like, that is the sound of losing, and you're just
and then picks up the water cooler.
Yeah. So I thought, we could have like who's the better motivator? Stroke bully. And Billy versus Fletcher.
I can imagine Fletcher in the baseball outfit as well.
Oh
yeah. He's probably thrown an opening pitch at a baseball. I reckon JK's probably done that, hasn't he, after the Oscar?
He probably did it at Whiplash. One of the kids. He was like, I get that.
So, which character did you think you'd be most like? Carla, because Kevin will choose Brad Pitt, because we know that Kevin just always chooses the main character.
I definitely did choose Brad Pitt.
In terms of who I liked the most.
I
think it was Chris Pratt's character. I mean, from start to finish, because also I think his wife is like, looking at the bills and things when they arrive in. So you're already off the bat. You're like, oh, these poor people, like, give them a chance.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's so unsure of himself, and then when he starts actually playing on first base pretty well, the whole story of him, and then that's like shining moment towards the end. I just loved his whole character arc. I also like Chris Pratt in general, so that also helped. What about you guys?
So I thought that the one that I would be was the old guy with the hearing aid, because because he's like, look, he doesn't have to listen to us. He's the person who's responsible. So I'm not revolutionizing baseball, but I get it, and like someone else is doing it, but like I'm like okay, guys, he doesn't actually have to listen to us. We're just here trying to help him. I don't think the general managers only answer to owners and gods. But besides that, I think
he's good quote though.
Yeah, he's pretty much spot on. Okay, who did you have, Jonah?
Well, I mean, obviously with the stats and the data, obviously Jonah seemed obvious, but no, in my olden days, I used to play a bit of cricket, and I used to be a bowler, and I had a lot of thought process with the guy at the pitcher with the strange throwing style. So I thought, I could connect with that guy.
You wouldn't have to run in, so your knees would be fine.
Yeah, exactly. Shoulder would probably just fall out at some point, but knees would be good.
What was his character? He had an interesting name. I can't remember the thrower, the pitcher. Sorry. Really showing like his sports not the thrower.
The thrower.
Yeah, the guy with the ball.
He's the one that he says that he's going to pray for Billy, and he's like, thanks for giving me this chance because no one else has. He's like, no one. Okay, well, no, don't worry.
Yeah.
And what's the response? He says, "I'll be praying for you and your family." And then what does
Yeah.
Brad Pitt say in response? It's something really funny. It's like,
Yeah.
"All right then," or something like,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
even a thank you.
He's sort of contemplating to say like, I don't believe in God, and he's like,
Yeah.
no, I'll just leave it. I'll just be like, yeah, okay, thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, there
Yeah,
were
so
so
what
many
about-
good lines.
Yeah, favorite lines. There's some great lines in here.
I
Yeah, we
love the
must have some
whole
good ones.
"he gets on base" scene as
Yeah.
well. I
Yeah.
mean, it's all in that boardroom scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the advice to his daughter when she's worried, and he says, "Well, don't go on the internet or watch TV or read newspapers or talk to
Yeah.
people." And she's like, "I don't talk to people." And he's like, "Yeah, good." I think also the other one with his daughter, and he says, "Do I look worried?" And she says, "Yeah." And he says, "Well, you're about to go on a plane. Those things crash all the time."
You saw her as she's getting on. There was also the great
Yeah.
scene when they do go to Chris Pratt's house
Yeah.
and they're talking about first base and they're like, "It's not that hard. Tell him it's incredibly hard." I just thought it was
Yeah.
the
And
back
then-
and forth.
And then he comes back with, "Well, isn't everything that's important?" Or like, "Well, isn't everything that's great?"
Yeah, it was very good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
when he names one of the players that he wants to buy, and they say who, and he says it sounds like an Oakland A already.
Yeah.
Other
He
than that-
he was really good. The lines are great in it as well. Like it really pulls it together. I mean, I don't know if Billy Bean was as funny as this
Snappy,
character. Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
But,
I agree with him destroying the radio as well. When they say, "Imagine if you were a Yankee who didn't like the taste of champagne." God, that would wind me
Yeah.
up. I'd be like, yeah. And then
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if you lose the last game of the season and no one gives a damn, I think that's
Oh.
So sad.
Yeah. Oh, that was brutal, wasn't it? Yeah. And then one of the quotes they had at the end was around, well, after they lose, one of them is it was just an element of randomness to it, like basically people just saying, "Oh, it's just luck." It was just there's no anything to it at all. And you're just like, oh god. I think that was one of the things that I took away from the film is that people couldn't comprehend the idea that human behavior could be boiled down to numbers and prediction. And it's like, especially in the current world that we live in now with AI, people are sort of worried about it from different reasons. And I think that's the thing. We do the same things a lot. So, it is actually
predictable.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. And then that's what then makes AI quite useful, is because it's using all the information we put together and said, "Oh, this is what you guys normally like." And we're like, "Oh, yeah, this is what we normally like. This is great news."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. Like, yeah, it was sort of an early version of the machine learning that we're talking about so frequently now. When he's like, "It's just some code I wrote," I was like, "Wow, Jonah, ahead of the times."
You go, Jonah. Yeah. In that solitary apartment with his
spot plant,
his one plant. Yeah.
3 blazers hanging on the wall.
Yeah, some great 3-star reviews. One of which sort of the Dirty Dozen in baseball. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that I get that.
No,
I'm not sure that. So they go on to say Brad Pitt plays a buyer of players for an American baseball team. I mean, Brad Pitt plays a buyer of players for an American baseball team.
That's very clunky.
Yeah, I was like,
that person knows a lot a lot about baseball.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We might have found someone who knows less about baseball than us.
Let's get them on the pod.
I'm now introducing our fourth guest.
Wait, but is that a review or an observation?
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Only he hasn't got much money and employs a revolutionary approach to team selection. Instead of picking the most expensive players, he goes for the cheap ones with history. And when I say history, I mean problems in their personal lives. I don't think that. I'm not sure.
Wow.
That person's watching a different film. Yeah.
So
I like
sassy.
it. Yeah.
Will they come good and go all the way, or will they implode on themselves and crash down like the House of Cards? Apparently, this is based on a true story, so you may already know. If you don't, watch the film and find out.
Wow, that was a roller coaster of a review. That was up and down.
Yeah.
That feels like a school project, like write a film review for this.
Yeah.
A pleasing 3 out of 5 for non-sports fans like myself, 4 out of 5 or higher for likers of the games. Yeah, so that was a good one. Someone just said there's no love interest, no sex, not
That's
interested,
the whole review.
not
Wow.
interested.
Wow, someone's thinking, what? Brad Pitt's in this. There's
Yeah.
only one reason I'm going to be watching
Someone
this.
is more of a Brad Pitt fan than I am.
Yeah.
Shame they didn't cast Joaquin Phoenix.
What?
Yeah, we said this, didn't we? They wouldn't have worked with Jonah Hill.
There was more to the review, but yeah, they wanted Joaquin Phoenix, who was 11 years, who was 11 years younger. So yeah, that would have been.
I don't think I could ever imagine him in a sporting film.
Yeah,
I mean, Gladiator is maybe sports, so it's questionable.
Yeah.
Inviting you to the Gladiator podcast as a sports correspondent.
Gladiator's a sport, period.
And then well acted at a time when Brad Pitt was at his best. So that was an interesting way to begin. Was this him at his best?
No, definitely.
But what is his best? What would you say is his best?
I mean, that's a whole new podcast. I mean, there's so many.
Yeah, I think he's got a lot of. He's got a lot of
Chronicles.
Yeah, a lot of Andy. You know them better than the rest of us.
than anyone on earth. I mean, I think it's probably like coming out of his like weird beginning, getting to sort of the superstardom around the like 7 sort of mark. I would say that's kind of that's him. That's him peaking, and now he's kind of having the sort of peak at the end of the career. But I think that's all a bit retrospective. But that might also be because I didn't like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood at all.
Yeah,
so
I've not seen that yet. What about Bullet Train? Do you like that?
I think I watched that after your recommendation. It was fine. Yeah, it was.
It's fun.
Yeah,
it's fun. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah,
I've got one review that I like on Rotten Tomatoes, a 3-star review. This movie lies to you. There is no ball of money anywhere within it. Someone, I really appreciate it. I was like, someone's really gone to town and gone, no one's reading these 3-star reviews. No one's going to read this. Little do they know.
I can put whatever I want in a 3-star review. No one reads these.
Yeah. Well, now it's on a podcast.
Do you think it would do better or worse if it came out today?
I'd say about the same, probably.
Yeah.
I feel like
there's still a market, isn't there?
Yeah, I think so. And it's not like the sport has changed or gotten less popular. So I'd say it would have the same demand.
Well, Major League Baseball in 2011 when the film came out was worth $6 billion. This year is 2022 actually when I saw the stats was worth 10.5. So baseball is more popular than it was, but it's still. But still,
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I kind of wanted to go to a baseball game after I watched it. So
it's. I mean, go over to Fenway Park. You know, your traveling schedule. You'll be like, I'm just popping over to Fenway Park for a game, and then coming back,
grabbing a hot dog.
Yeah.
I have seen a game.
Oh, wait, guys. You've just called me. I know. I'll be on the podcast soon. I'm just throwing out the first pitch for the game.
Oh wait, Brad's here. Brad.
Is it all right if we record from Fenway? I'm just over for a game.
Sorry, guys. I can't do the pod. Brad wants to get some food.
Brad,
he's already started without me.
The feedback's coming through on my mic. Just put the popcorn down, for God's sake. Similar movies on Letterboxd. They went for League of Their Own, Bull Durham, and a bunch of other baseball movies, which aren't the same, obviously, because they're just baseball movies. I think the algorithm loses again because it's just like, the main headline is it's a baseball movie, so it's therefore like all of these others. Didn't even have like any of the real good underdog stories. So,
but I also feel like what you said, Andy. You said it's kind of like The Big Short a bit.
Yeah,
I feel like that's pretty accurate as well. It's the same feeling.
What's the one with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck in? I've not seen it.
Good Will Hunting.
Good Will Hunting.
Yeah, is that? I feel like they do a lot of right on the blackboard there. Is that? I feel like that could be linked in. Or I mean, that's Beautiful sort of, Mind.
Yeah, maths.
So anything with like number crunching.
Oppenheimer had quite a lot of blackboard action.
Yeah.
This is basically like
spoiler. I've not seen it.
Basically like a prequel to Oppenheimer.
Yeah. All right then. So it's on the list. Does it stay where it is? Does it go further up towards 1, or does it stay? Or does it fall off the list?
Yeah, gaslighting. Yeah, no, I think it's still really good. I really enjoyed it. I think it can probably fall down just a couple of places.
Wow.
Yeah, just just a few, because there's a gap now where others have moved up. So I think I had it now just at 86. So just the 3 places down. Because it is a good watch. It's not one that I would watch kind of over and over again. I think it's a good every like 6 or 7 years watching, putting it on and being like, yeah, this is a good film. So yeah, but I enjoyed it. I'm glad that you enjoyed it too, Carla.
Thank you.
I think it does well, and is more than just about baseball and the numbers, which is good.
Yeah, good news.
Yeah, great. Well, thanks again for our intrepid sports correspondent.
Been my pleasure, as always.
We'll see you for the next one that we can shoehorn into being a sports film, maybe Gladiator, maybe who knows,
or anything with people riding on a board. Maybe now that could be the next.
Yeah. Well,
you're covering off so many genres now.
I mean, that's sports for geeks. That's nothing to be sneezed at. So
yeah, exactly. The new world.
For next week, Kev, you'll like this. A bit of a riddle for next week. The bigger it is, the less you see it. You're going to have to be thinking about that for a week until we're back on. Thanks to Tom Evans, as ever, for the theme song. Thanks again, Carla, and we'll see you next week.